Hello, hi, welcome to ETM 5950. Um, my name is Rahman Rom, and I am going to be your instructor for ETM 5950, which is Data Analytic for Business, throughout these 12 weeks. Well, welcome again. The very first thing that we are going to learn today is basically introduction to data analytics, which is we are going to understand what analytic is and why it matters and where this unit actually takes you. All right, so this is what we are going to learn in our very first week. So this is very important for everyone. Please focus. All right, now let's go to our very first slide, which is what we will cover for today. So what we will cover for today, the most important thing, just like your other subjects in the first week, we will cover the unit or the subjects where we are going to talk about the objective, the plan, and the assessment. This is very important. I do not want to receive any emails regarding to things that I already mentioned in the first week. All right, so please take note and please focus. All right, so that is the first thing. The second thing is we are going to start with our learning, which is we will cover on what data analytic is and why is it important. All right, so that is the second thing. The following thing is we are going to learn about data foundations and from source to ETL. All right, source is basically the abstraction over here. So it is something correlated. You will learn about the foundation of data, type of data, and then also we will learn about one framework in data, which is ETL. All right, so that is the third thing. The next thing is you will be given one CSV data, which is about trend.csv, and you will try to identify based on your current knowledge and etc. You will have to identify the current spotting trends within the trend.csv. That is the exercise that I'm going to give you, and you will try to figure out what are the current trends in the data. And then the next thing, which is number 5, is I am going to give you or show to you some of the real use cases where company actually utilize data analytic, and in the end they can actually save a lot of money. All right, so one of the company is Petronas and the other company is Grab. All right, and the last one is just we summarize everything, and I'm going to tell you what are the toolkit that you are going to use, the software, the license and everything for these subjects, and how can you succeed in this subject. So that's it for what we will cover for today. Now, let's go to the next thing. All right, so the very first thing, the very first agenda for today, we are going to discuss about what this unit is, what is the learning outcome, and how you will be assessed throughout the 12 weeks. All right, now the first thing, the learning outcome. So, after 12 weeks, you are expected to get these 4 learning outcomes. The very first one is you will be able to compare different types and structure for business data. That is the very first one. The second one, when you are able to compare, right, you will be able to analyze the business trend and pattern using the descriptive analytics method. You are going to learn about this one. And now I'm sorry. And then on the third one is you will be able to evaluate the relationship in business data and develop predictive model using analytic techniques. There are many predictive models, but what we are going to learn is specifically two. The first one is classification, and the second one is regression. And you are going to do all of these programming things by using R programming language, and you can use RStudio or Jupyter Notebook. All right, and then the last one, when you already learn this 1 2 3, and you get when you already learn the whole three things, right, you can actually give recommendation to support the informed business decision based on the data analytic process that you have done. So these are the 4 learning outcomes after the 12 weeks. All right, now let's go to the next thing, which is our 12-week agendas. So we have a weekly plans, right? We have 12 weeks. So the very first first 2 weeks is week 1 and week 2, we are going to learn something theoretical. This one is something theoretical, which is the first one is you are going to learn about introduction to data analytics, and the next one is you are going to learn about storytelling with data. Everything here, the first 2 weeks is theoretical, but this is a very important foundation for the following weeks that you are going to learn. All right. So the next thing is for week 3 and week 4, you are going to learn data visualization. All right, so the things that you are going to use in data visualization is you are going to use Tableau. All right, so you will need to install Tableau after this for data visualization. All right, in the week 5 to 7, you are going to start with programming a bit. All right, so the programming language that you are going to use, as I mentioned previously, is you are going to use R. All right, if you are not sure what is R and you wanted to learn R before the class, you can you can just like search into Google or ChatGPT what is R and how does R works, so that it will be a lot easier for you during the week 5 until week 7. All right, and then the week 8, we are going to learn statistical learning, regression and classification from week 8 to week 10. All of this is related to predictive model. All right, and also all of this week also we are going to use R as well. And then on the very last agenda, which is week 11 and week 12, we are going to have your final presentation, and you are going to summarize the whole, sorry, not summarize, you are going to utilize the whole things that you have learned from week 1 to week 10 into a single presentation. So this is very important for you to actually be focused on every single weeks, because we are learning is sequential, right? The very first one is foundation, and then visualization, and then cleaning the data, manipulation, and then lastly is try to implement any predictive model. And the very last thing, when you already implement all of the programming things, data analytic things, you need to be able to provide some business decision. So that is on the week 11 and week 12. All right, so if you notice, right, if you notice in here, we have a different colors of borders. The reason why is because each of the borders is actually represented each of the assessment. So you have 3 assessment. Two of it is basically a written report, and one of it is presentation. All right, so for your very first assessment is Harvard Business Simulation. Again, the due date for this assessment is on week 4. Alright, please keep note in mind the due date is week 4, and I will brief you this assessment on week 2. Alright, so week 2, week 3, and week 4 is the time for you to do the very first assessment, and the outcome or the deliverable is expected to be a report. I will give you full rubrics later on. Alright, so that is the first assessment. The second assessment is from week 5 to week 8, which is 40%. Okay, this is a lot. All right, this is a lot. You are going to utilize your Tableau as well as R. You are going to start with EDA, visualization, and then cleaning data, yada yada, and then you are expected to provide it with one report as well. All right, so that one is the due date is week 8. You are going to start from week 5, week 6, week 7, and week 8 is your submission. All right, so that is the second thing. And the last assessment is on predictive modeling presentation, which is it is expected to be presented on week 11 or week 12, depending on the schedules. All right, so these are 3 things that are expected to be in your assessment, and everything and you don't have final exam. All right, so yeah, so all the best to you guys. All right, so I think that's it about the unit or the subject throughout the whole weeks. All right, from week 1 to week 12, from week 1 to week 12. So if you have any question before we go to our learning process, learning slides after this, if you have any question, you can reach out to me by email. This is my email. I will attach somewhere. My email is Rahman. I'm not sure if I can type here. Rahman Okay, never mind. My handwriting is bad, by the way. Rahman.rome@monash.edu. I will just provide some placeholder somewhere in the videos. All right. So all the best. Good luck to all of you. I think this subject is very interesting, very fun actually. So looking forward to meet all of you in person. Thank you. Bye bye.